There were flashing lights outside, red and white streaks bouncing off the walls of our living room. The wail of an ambulance echoed in the early hours, and inside our home, the blinking red light of my father's oxygen machine screamed silently. Standing in the driveway, Karen Tillman, vice president of our neighborhood HOA, was yelling at the paramedics. "He's too loud. I have rights." Then I heard it. "Ma'am," one of the EMTs said flatly, "you might have just killed someone. If you're wondering how we got there, how this could possibly happen legally, or how someone could be so recklessly cruel, trust me, I was thinking the same thing. Because just 5 minutes before that, I had been asleep. Dead asleep, after a long night monitoring my dad's oxygen levels via a smart app on my phone. He suffers from severe COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which means his lungs have essentially retired from service, and keeping him alive is like running a marathon every night. If you think a medical-grade oxygen concentrator is noisy, you've clearly never lived across from Karen's 3 yapping chihuahuas during mating season. But to Karen, none of that matters. She treats our HOA like it's her kingdom. Rules, codes, citations to her, they are scripture. I moved back home after Dad had a fall last year, and ever since, it's been a quiet war. One time, she cited me for an emotionally disruptive wind chime. Her words, not mine. Still, I never thought she'd stoop so low. That night, a storm rolled in. Nothing major, just enough to flicker the power. I checked on Dad before bed. His generator was ready, just in case. At 2:56 a.m., the power went out, and the backup generator hummed to life, barely a whisper of sound. Apparently, that was enough. Karen, wrapped in her silk robe of tyranny, walked across the street, through our gate, and unplugged the generator. Just pulled the plug like it was a toaster left on too long. My dad was asleep. With no oxygen, he couldn't even cry out. I woke up to silence. The app on my phone wasn't connecting. I rushed into his room. His lips were bluish. He was pale. No sound from the machine. Just the blinking red light. I called 911 and started CPR with trembling hands. The EMTs arrived in under 7 minutes. That's when Karen showed up. She stood in the doorway, arms folded, complaining the generator was too loud. I didn't know it was medical, she insisted. You unplugged a device during a power outage. Are you insane? One EMT snapped. There were no warning signs, she replied. Just a loud box. Ma'am, there are 3 red labels that say medical equipment. Do not unplug. Karen shrugged. Those aren't HOA-approved stickers. At first, I didn't plan to escalate. I was focused on whether my dad would live through the night. But the EMTs had already called the police. When officers arrived, Karen changed her story. First, she thought it was abandoned. Then she tripped. Then maybe it just came unplugged. The officer turned to me. Do you have security footage? Of course I did. Karen had complained about our doorbell cam for months. I pulled it up. Timestamped footage. Karen walking across our lawn, reaching down, unplugging the generator, and walking away. Well, maybe the warning stickers were too quiet, she mumbled. They didn't arrest her that night. Said it needed to go to the DA. But I saw the way the EMT looked at her, the silent judgment in his eyes. By morning, my dad was stable. The doctor told me if he'd gone 5 more minutes without oxygen, there would have been brain damage. The next day, I received an email from the HOA. A sound violation. Not a fine. Just a friendly warning about the generator. They included a PDF of new medical accommodation rules, rules that didn't exist the week before. Karen had backdated policy to cover her tracks. That's when I realized this wasn't incompetence. It was intentional. That evening, I sat by my dad's side, bruises still fresh on his chest from my amateur CPR, and I started gathering evidence, emails, footage, HOA memos. Then I heard it again, the generator. I stepped outside. Karen was at the side gate, flanked by 2 other HOA board members. One of them, Brent, held a clipboard. We're here to notify you that your generator violates Section 4B, he said. You know it's medical, I replied. All residents are subject to the same regulations, he smirked. Karen handed me a notice. Remove the generator in 48 hours or face legal action. No mention of the emergency. No compassion. Just noise control and unauthorized modifications. I turned to Sandra, the other board member. She looked away. You comfortable backing someone who nearly killed a man over a 45 decibel hum? I asked. Sandra doesn't answer to you, Karen snapped. Back inside, I contacted a lawyer, Daniel, an expert in HOA abuse cases. After reviewing the footage, he said plainly, this is criminal. I dug deeper. found emails, notices, and the HOA's updated rules, quietly amended 2 days before the incident. Karen had authored the changes. A neighbor forwarded me a screenshot from a private HOA group chat Karen had mistakenly included her in. Karen had written, "Getting rid of the noise menace before it spreads." With that, Daniel filed both a criminal complaint and a civil lawsuit. My dad remained in the hospital. The doctor said 10 more minutes, and we'd have lost him. Then came the news attention. I anonymously tipped off a local outlet. HOA official unplugs man's oxygen machine over noise complaint. Within 24 hours, the story blew up. Karen's lawyer sent a cease and desist, accusing me of defamation. Daniel laughed. She tried to kill a man and is worried about gossip. Then came Sandra. Pale, anxious, she handed me a manila envelope. I can't be part of this anymore. Inside, internal HOA memos. One dated the day before the incident read, "If you won't move the generator, we'll make it happen. Rules are rules." That was the smoking gun. The news ran the story with a still from the doorbell cam, Karen in her robe, unplugging the machine. The internet erupted. Forums, Reddit, HOA horror threads, people shared their Karen stories. One subreddit labeled her Queen Karen of HOA hell. Karen tried to salvage her image. A Facebook post blamed me, the media, even the HOA board. It backfired. Badly. Sandra resigned publicly. 3 other board members followed. Karen stood alone. Then the DA filed charges, criminal negligence, interference with medical equipment. Karen was unraveling. At a neighborhood meeting, she brought charts and accused my home of being a disruptive force. Someone threw a foam gnome at her. Then Daniel discovered internal emails between Karen and a developer. She had a plan, force out elderly residents for a neighborhood revitalization project. My dad had been a target. Charges were upgraded. The courtroom was packed for her trial. The prosecutor laid it out with chilling precision. Footage played. Her slippers. Her hand. The unplugged cord. Silence. I testified. Told them about the night, the panic, the silence. Then the EMT testified calm, clear, condemning. He confirmed Karen delayed life-saving care. The jury deliberated less than 2 hours. Guilty. On all counts. Karen was sentenced to 18 months house arrest, a steep fine, and mandatory volunteer work at a medical facility. The HOA collapsed. Residents voted to dissolve it. Cupcakes were served. Karen's home fell into disrepair. Her lawn wild. Her blinds shut. She had become a ghost. My father recovered slowly. We installed a solar-powered oxygen system, HOA-proof. One day, he joked, "Still too loud." "Perfect volume," I said. The wind chimes rang freely. Peace had returned. Months later, I received a certified letter. Karen's conviction triggered state-level reviews. Her proposals to expand HOA powers were revoked. Her name? Blacklisted. A neighbor started a wind chime exchange, a gentle rebellion. Karen wanted silence. In the end, she got it. But some sounds are worth protecting. The hum of a generator. The breath of a loved one. And the whisper of justice, finally heard. And now, there's no HOA left to stop me.